That's
Want to get started?
Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everyone, it's 5:37. Scituate Council on Aging, Thursday, March 9th. Welcome all. Let's do, as we always do, a quick round at the table introduction for name recognition, and then we'll hop in here. So I'm J.D. Miller, Board Chair.
Susan Grevich Kelly, Vice Chair.
Janice Lindblom, Board Member.
Laurie Brady, Board Member.
John Powers, Liaison for South Shore Elderly Services.
Lisa Harris, Board Member. Susan Pope, Board Member.
Blanche Barry, Liaison for Friends of Scituate Seniors.
Leslie James, Board Member. Dee Dwyer, Board Member.
Jessica Stuckey, Activity and Volunteer Coordinator.
Linda Hayes Kelly, Director of the Senior Center. I did it.
Very good. Well done. I hope everyone got minutes. Well, they're probably in your packet. I think I just saw mine about an hour ago, but if you have a chance to take a look at your minutes earlier or now in your packet, if you would please take a look at our minutes from February 9th meeting last month. Briefly for any corrections, edits, or approval.
Quite descriptive, Marie, thank you for that, especially because I wasn't here, so that was, I felt like I was here.
Yeah, no, this is great, as always. You'll be sad to see you not
Oh,
doing
That's one, we'll find something else for you to write on your page.
I already tried.
Oh, if I wasn't up till 2 in the morning doing it, I could still do it, but I'm so anal about my writing. Wicked.
Does anybody have any questions? We covered the town's national grid, aggregation, some news about GATRA, liaison reports, and we jumped into the accreditation, which some or all of you have already gotten started on.
Do we, so let me just ask a question on that. So, I mean, for the record, what was on here is correct, but it's now, there are some changes that have been made in terms of committees. Do we want to change that on the minutes, or do we just leave it the way it is?
I would leave it the way it
They
is,
wouldn't be changing the
honestly.
minutes because they were accurate at the time.
Okay.
We can do an update or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions, comments, edits? Very good. Can I have a motion to approve February 9th Council on Aging Board minutes?
I move that we accept and approve.
And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Well, why don't we hop in? I know they're still catching up, but I'm gonna hand it over to
Yes.
them
Well,
for direction.
all right, I will start, even though nicely enough, we also have Jess here with us tonight, which is very good, so I'll let her do her own report, and, you know, much of what even, sometimes I might talk about has to do with programs, so I'll defer to her on those, but, and I apologize that you don't have a written report, so this is oral,
Okay.
but I can give you something written after. I have been gone a little bit, a couple of times in the last month, so apologize for that, but did my best to go back over what really has been happening that you might be interested in. So outside use of the building or extra use of the building in the evening or otherwise, I think last time you probably were told, and I know it was in the minutes, the electricity presentation that had over 160 people here, which, you know, was a good, not only a great showing, but a good test of the room to see how many really could fit and see and hear. They are scheduling.
We ran out of chairs.
Well, and there are always more, it's just
Right.
getting them or
Just getting them up,
anticipating having
right.
them near enough.
Right.
And also knowing we need the wall open for something that, you never know how many people are gonna show up. We have been hosting periodically the VAC as one of the committees that comes in at night, the Veterans Advisory Council. And they have hosted a couple of times this group that has been proposing and promoting and describing a a veteran statue that they have wanted to bring to the town of Scituate.
But
So
that's
that-
been in the works for years, I think.
It's
so
been in
good.
the works for maybe
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Yeah,
But then they went to the select board recently, and anyway, the board felt that they should have an opportunity to have more community input about it. So that's also scheduled for April. So they have been here anyway, but now that is going to happen in April. I guess it looks like after town meeting. I don't know, it must not be important to do before town meeting, but, so that'll be here. We have, during the day, we had a legal mediation that needed 4 breakout rooms, and it was a busy day anyway, it was like a Wednesday. But, you know, they did it, so that was great, that was for the town.
is there any other packets?
Yeah, it's making its way
Oh,
around.
good.
SBD did their senior police luncheon on a Saturday last month for Valentine's Day, I guess was the new theme instead of Christmas. I wasn't here for that either, so I think that was.
What actually was that, Linda?
That was the Scituate Police Department does their annual luncheon at Christmas time normally, and at the last minute, they really had to cancel in December because of just some, good sickness. So they ended up rescheduling. Oh, it was for a Friday, that's why, so you weren't here, it was a Friday.
And it was a luncheon for seniors?
It was a luncheon for seniors, yes, that the police department sponsors. Normally, they've always done their own thing and had their own chef. Last year, of course, they used this space. They used to go to the Congo Church. But this year, they did convince Fred to do it, as long as he had help in the kitchen, another person. So when it was in December, he had recruited someone. But then when it was in February, he actually recruited his wife to
Wow.
help cater, and Keon, I believe, was there.
And so this was like for Valentine's Day?
It ended up being a Valentine's Day.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking is this will help me in terms of the community.
Yes, it will, yes, it will, and that has been going on for years.
Yeah,
They've
they've been
that.
done, they've done annual.
But now it feels more like a partnership because it is, we
It's a
are
regular
we are-
Used to
thing.
do
and
it
it's-
at, I think, First Trinitarian Church.
the Congo Church.
Yep, and so they did it for years, but I do it here.
That's
So,
great.
Good, that's super, yep.
The school superintendent does use the space, as the school committee has as well, so there is a building committee sort of presentation on the proposals for the new school building. So there's 3 of those, there was one already and there's 2 more scheduled. The Scituate Visitor Center with Karen Campfield has used it and is again using it for their next meeting, so it's good space, I guess. The last of the winter film series we showed last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, the Irish one. So each of the sister city committees has showed 1 or 2 films on a Tuesday night. Used to just be French, but now they're all doing it. It was very nice. It was pretty well attended for the Irish. We did host, and I will say led by Jess, because again, I couldn't be here at the last minute, but Hingham has been calling a lot, whether it's their board members, somebody interested in trying to organize a friends, or the director herself, and for other reasons. And this time it was the town manager, assistant town manager, a select board chair, I believe,
From here?
from Hingham, to tour the space and ask questions about the building. So they are really, really trying to get out in front of finding some space in Hingham. And I know they are, we don't mind
They've
helping,
been
but it's
trying
been
to
a lot, it's been a
They've been
lot.
trying to do that for a while, too.
And are they fully accredited right now?
They are, they are, yes.
Yeah, they got a small space for the
They do,
town size.
very little parking, nothing,
Right.
nothing segregated
Right.
except for their space.
Right.
So that went well, I guess, and I had some questions I still have to answer, but that was nice. So, other stuff I am involved in, and I know you know what I do, and that all day long I could just be PR or be putting out some fires or, just impromptu meetings that people just need to see me for something and talk, and that has continued to be the case, it seems often lately, which is fine, it's what I like to do. So. But there is a lot of that. Pickleball has been increasing. Players, are coming out of the woodwork, and younger players, in fact. So we have a clear cutoff of 55, but, sometimes it seems we have to catch them.
The number or age?
Seriously, that is definitely an age and not a number.
My 35-year-old daughter met her fiance playing pickleball. So,
That is nice.
I'll
Yes,
call it out.
everybody's in on the game now, and they're all trying to, but
So
So
are
she
they
was out
doing
doing
it
it.
inside at the rec center? It's,
Wednesdays at Jenkins Gym and Fridays at the Veterans Gym. So there's a need for either maybe extending the time a little bit if we could. We have a clear problem in trying to welcome new players and get them, you know, properly trained, but also just comfortable, and we don't want them to be intimidated by the level of play. And we never had to worry about that as much before. I mean, I'm sure there were times, but it's just become an issue that some are coming in feeling that that is their opportunity to be competitive and aggressive and get their, you know, their exercise, and they're showing off a little bit. So we have been having the clinics to help usher in new players because they really need that proper instruction and can't just get it in a half an hour and then get thrown into that environment. They are paying for the clinics, but it's good, and they don't pay for the program, so we figured that.
who's running the clinics?
yeah, Jenkins.
One woman that we met that came to us through another contact, and I think she's good, and it's nice to have her. We used to rely on a couple of volunteers who were good at it and didn't mind and would take the first hour and not only instruct them, but maybe play with them for a while, and then we'd have a court that continued being that moderate play. That's been hard to do because of so many people. The court needs to be in the rotation, or the people waiting, it just increases and there's just no way to speed it up. So I'm only mentioning that because it's just something that we keep trying to, I am trying to revisit. And I've had some phone calls about it and some conversations with other people who are worried. So whether we end up having to raise the age, or I hate to segregate the time for the different levels of players, because it's actually really nice. And I will mention her name because really we do still do things with her in mind, and Betty Johnson, who had been the volunteer that really was on site all the time there. And people listened to her, boy, they did. And she had good ideas. So we need to make sure. I mean, I did go in a little bit like gangbusters a few weeks, to the point that somebody called me commissioner. And I liked it. I kind of liked it. But anyway, it's just something that they do need management, and so.
Is there a way to expand court hours?
Well, on Friday, yes, there is, and that could help in a way, but still,
Right.
you'd almost have to have 2 sessions.
Yep.
And just have people sign up for them, which we did actually try to do in the beginning of that Friday, but then we just let it just happen. So, yeah, I just mentioned that. In fact, badminton, which is in our newsletter and one of our sort of programs, but it's actually been a very independent thing. So they show up at Jenkins after pickleball and play from 7 to 9. But we almost really don't have attendance. We used to have a volunteer that was more communicative and probably did give us names, and as of now we really haven't had any. And some of those have started to come to pickleball, so I'm afraid they've kind of come in the side door, and we don't really know altogether who is even using the time that we reserve for them for badminton, you know, so it's, again, something it's off-site, and it should be fun, it's fine. Badminton, I think, is no age limit, we've never had to, so younger players are there. And it's competitive, and they like it that way, and it's worked out, but something we might. We do have a nice collaboration coming up this month in March with Rotary, JD, who secured a great speaker for us in Brett Miller, who speaks on Parkinson's and runs a gym that is well known for helping Parkinson's patients with a boxing program, or in a boxing program. So he's going to speak after the support group meeting on March 21st, which is a Tuesday. So we'll do it in the big room. He'll have a presentation, and I think probably for anyone interested, whether they come here as clients yet or not, it's, as we know, all too prevalent these days.
But it's
So-
much what?
Pardon me?
Much.
21st, it's a Tuesday.
Yep, we're trying to spread the word. We were talking about that last night, so.
Tax work-off program has, I am still getting applications and trying to, I suppose, find placements. We did get a new opening, and someone in that opening was a high school cafeteria, which, it's a good idea. It's never happened before, but someone's gone and he's going to be there 2 days a week. So
What is he gonna be doing?
hope it works out. Register maybe a little prep, putting out things that the kids can just pick up, so it sounds like it might be okay. It's
Yeah,
a
good.
man that we placed there.
That's great.
But we're up to, including all the people who are on the program but volunteering here at the senior center, I mean, we're up to about 23 or 4 potentially, and we only have, I believe it's 30 spots maximum. The social day program is really off to a wonderful start with Jen, who I know you met. She's perfect for the job. She's very capable at managing the intake and, you know, making some decisions about whether someone is appropriate for the program, and knowing, well, we are asking for paperwork and
Yeah.
documentation a little bit. And we have 6 core who have been now here for a few weeks at least, if not more, because we did start at January 23rd. So there were 3 weeks and then a break and then 3 weeks, so now we're into March. But she has 2 others starting a little bit on a trial,
Next
just
one.
because they were maybe on the
But
bench.
8 kind of maxes us out.
8 is the max.
Okay.
And honestly, if there was another, and we're trying to work out how they could do trial days, just to get a sense of it, if it's just for the morning or it is the whole day. Or we would rotate, if we had 7, for instance, we could only put an extra person for trial, and then maybe another person could do a trial the next week. But if it works out, then we will be full, and then there would be a wait list, which is fine because things are fluid.
Yeah.
But that's great, that only took a couple of months to sort of get to that 8, and you just realize it's a sensitive selection process. I have no action yet on the dimmers I requested 3-4 months ago, so
At least a couple months ago.
we will get them. Now it's light out for longer and the dimmers are a little less necessary, but we hope we get those. And the sign,
Kevin was working on that.
we're getting, yes, David Hassan, who designed, well, a couple of signs but it is our logo. So the one we wanted in the parking lot near the entrance, he's going to do a mock-up because there was some feeling that it was an obstruction a little bit for cars parking and or backing out, or maybe it wouldn't have as great visibility. So we'll see. It could be near the building, it could be in one of the islands in the parking lot. I think it could go a few places. So if he does the markup that's actual size, so to speak, then we'll try to make a decision based on that.
Yeah.
And hope to have it really by June.
Good.
GATRA Advisory Board has been increasing the number of meetings that I'm asked to go to monthly, but the nice thing is I can now do it on Zoom, which, you know, prior to COVID, we always had to go to Taunton or somewhere else far away. So it is nice, at least I can do the meetings more easily. And the new executive director, I think, is great. So everybody knows, and must have discussed it maybe last time, about the new service. So they are happy with the initial numbers in Scituate for the new on-demand service. And we have had no complaints here that I'm aware of. People who have asked for a little help or maybe have asked questions and have been helped to use the app or to make the call. No one has complained. And so that'd be good if it works out. Great. Everybody understands, though, what that is now for GATRA. I did offer, and I know Seth and SCTV was hoping to interview one of the people from GATRA who might be able to explain that to the public and have that on video. So the thought was maybe we could ask them to come to a board meeting and do it that way, or maybe one-on-one. He's still going to try to contact the executive director and see if she wanted to come.
Good.
Okay. So Kelly Walsh has started as our new transportation coordinator, and I think, again, she's going to be great, and she's very, agreeable and I think happy in the role, and jumped right in because I wasn't even here the first 2 days that she was here. But Jill, of course, who has been doing most of the scheduling and the work, was also able to orientate her to the job initially. There'll be more that we'll do to bring her on. But
Great.
we would like to add more drivers, or a couple of drivers maybe. Just trying to be certain of who we do have and who we might need to at this point cut loose because we have been waiting a bit for a couple of fighters to come back. So we would like 1 or 2. I have applications, but I thought I'd wait for Kelly so she could be part of the process. So we can start looking at that this month. Our outreach position is now open, which might be news here, but Erin gave her notice and is leaving March 24th. So just in case, you know,
Anybody know?
I thought we would have full staff. So that's about all there is to report at this time. Is there any questions for me? And I'll let Jess talk about anything in terms of the programs that are coming up or that we've had successfully.
Does anybody have any questions for Linda? So we're interviewing for outreach, or at least.
Well, I will say, I thought it was
Advertising.
posted 2
Yeah.
weeks, I thought it was posted 2
Yeah.
Thursdays ago, and I did go to look at that today to let somebody know, and I didn't see it. So unfortunately then, I emailed Bob Clark, because he was doing it, and he's off this week, so I don't know if he was going to see my message or not, and let me know. So I'm not sure about why that is.
Okay.
Interestingly, there's also a assistant town clerk position open, and there is also an assistant director for recreation open,
Oh,
and we have this full-time job.
Okay.
So if it's not been posted, then hopefully it will be ASAP, but
When does everyone,
March 24th is that's a Friday.
I'll come here fast.
It will, I mean, it was a good 3 weeks. So that's too bad. We do wish her well, of course. She and her husband are opening up a gym, so.
Okay. Jess, what's going
All
on?
right. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to draw your attention to the report. There's a lot in here, so I felt that what I could say is when I create these reports, if you're in my brain, if you're a numbers person, I like people to have access to the numbers if they want to look through it, and if that's how if the numbers ground you and help you understand what's going on in programs. I have it from December to February to see some of the trends. And then I try to, in the notes, give you a little bit of a blurb about what's happening in each area. And then the second box here is all of our most popular programs, because these are just our main headings. And then under here, I pulled out, I mean, we do hundreds of programs, so I just pulled out the most popular, are the ones that are kind of trending or that we're seeing some significant change in.
Literally the top tier.
Yes, the top tier. In case you're interested in what most people are doing, or, you know, why are we not
The
seeing.
bigger class.
Yeah, but some classes are never going to be as big as Sue's class. They're just going to be a smaller support group, or a smaller group they're meant to be in order to give, like the social day program wouldn't be on here, but it's a very important program. But number-wise, it wouldn't be here.
Right.
But so that's kind of how I structure that, but I just didn't want you to get lost in it. On the other side, what I do is I focus on volunteers, but specifically this time, rather than just look at numbers of volunteers, which I didn't know if that was actually the best way to report on volunteers, I drew the report so that you could see volunteer hours, pay equivalent, so that you could start to see how much value the volunteers bring, and then duplicated and unduplicated just mean, right, it just means either they're signing in a lot, a couple of volunteers doing the same thing all the time, or maybe they're a receptionist and working in the kitchen. Or unduplicated, it's just their one, you know, just when they're coming in. So 63 is the number we have coming in in February on an unduplicated basis. And we have volunteers who are, and I would say I'd work with Jen to get them on board, and they're very compassionate, very caring. I think she interviewed people, and she really kind of handpicked some people she thought to start up the program that would be the perfect group for the social day program. So that was successful. Added 2 talented tech high school volunteers to get that kind of going on a soft level. We did kind of run it on a soft opening in February, and then got it in the newsletter for March and April, and we're seeing it pick up a little more. But we've gotten tremendous feedback about the quality of these volunteers, so we're hoping that people take advantage of that. I mentioned Susan in here because she's been helpful at Art for Your Money. It's a greeter position. It's a position that we could probably use in some other ways around the center too. It's a nice position for board members if you're interested. And I wanted to point out that when you're looking at the hours for board members, that does not in any way explain how many people are working here for how many hours. That's actually an area that I need to work with you all to try to make sure people are signing in and putting in your hours, especially during this accreditation process.
How do you sign in? I've never done it.
We can show you.
Yeah, I can show you.
As a board member or as a volunteer, you get a special,
Yeah.
you will see another button that other people wouldn't see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And so you go in that way.
a volunteer
Thank
rep.
you.
Yeah, so I'm happy to work with anybody on that. I'm kind of for this 2023 year, kind of trying to go back just retroactively, but I think with this accreditation process,
It's gonna be important.
yeah, if you're in the building, we should get your hours in there. The tax work-off is just another area that's not gonna right now be
Right.
up to date, because some of those people are all within the volunteers, so their hours aren't under tax work-off, they're actually figured into the other areas. And, oh, we are starting to plan the luncheon for this year for mid-June. We haven't settled an exact date, but we will get that to you, of course.
Last year, we had done the 4 o'clock, sort of after hours thing, which was very nice. But it put people here later doing things, and Fred did help out last year, so we thought we might do a luncheon this year and just do it on a Friday.
Yeah. So, so what I can kind of walk you through, and Linda mentioned some of these things, but these were things coming up in February, well, that happened in February, that were successful, was definitely the Valentine's Day, Steve Lancelot and BB Queen. That was a fun event. It was desserts and music and just cheer right around Valentine's Day. We had 2 very successful men's breakfasts this time around. The Wood Turners, which brought in the full equipment and did demonstrations, had their products, and people just really stayed and asked a lot of questions and seemed to really take that in. As well as Joby was just here on Tuesday, and yeah, Leslie was here.
He's great.
Good luck.
Yeah. He's so casual. He just,
Right.
he just talks about his fish, and no, but I mean, but everybody had asked. He's so knowledgeable, and everybody's asking him questions, and he's sharing about the industry, and it's Scituate, so everybody cares. So I would say that's an area that's been going strong for us in terms of it's more mixed too. It's not. I would not say now that every men's breakfast is men. It's men and women, and open. It's always been open to women, but we're seeing more women there too. The activities side, the British War Series got rave reviews. People were sad to see that go, want it back. More people want the exact same thing to come back so they can take it. We can maybe get him back in the fall. I ran into him, Dave Barrett, in the grocery store with his wife, and he's still basking in it. And he said, yeah, he said, maybe after I go to Duxbury and Marshfield and take a break, I'll come back. So yeah, so
That's good.
we had a nice garden club. We had Sue Ellen do decoupage crafting. Just Scituate Police comes. That's another community. That whole community section on the page is a lot of information for you for those groups that we.
And actually, I don't mean to interrupt, but they would like to come every month now. They hadn't necessarily been doing that, but they would like to. And so we want to sort of feature them and know people are, so people know that they are coming.
Police department.
Police department, yes.
And what about, so is that something that the fire department is interested in doing too, or?
Well, the police department, it's a little different in that people may have concerns and questions and that sort of thing, which I don't think they would have as much for the fire department. We have in Brad Stenbeck, Officer Stenbeck, he is our liaison, so to speak. So he wants to be seen and be available so that people would be comfortable with him if they did have questions at some point.
Sure.
I do think traffic and, driving in Scituate has always been something that people have wanted to hear from them about. So last time he did bring the new traffic officer, which, I actually wouldn't have an awful lot of people, but a couple stopped by to talk to them. But I think more visibility would mean more people would show up.
And just so you know, that's just where we do the community resources on those Thursday mornings, and it kind of fits into that format. But we usually every other men's breakfast we invite a department of the town to come in.
Oh.
So you can walk through our newsletters and see when the fire department was here, when the police department was here, when the town administrator was here. So that's been an area where we invite them in. I don't know if you heard them while you were coming here or when they were leaving, but there are dance classes. We have tap and line dancing. It just seems to me that tap is new. Line dancing has just been revving up more because it had a beginner and an intermediate, and it just seems of the groups that they're just having so much fun, and there seems to be like just a general demand for it. Sue's stretch class took off. She did a trial stretching class on Thursdays, and now we've landed at Thursdays at 9, where she is now a stretch class that she was getting enough attendance. We thought she could keep that going. Mm-hmm. And AARP is back, which means we have tax prep happening as well as some other tax workshops and resources, and does, as everybody knows who's been trying to get rooms, it does kind of change around what we can do for rooms. Because that's what I wanted to mention, is that with all these activities, now when you walk through the senior center, except on a couple given afternoons when it's a little quiet, and that's okay because that's when we want to have presentations, or we want to have, just because it's quiet, it's not bad. It means it's actually a place where we can plug in people who want to come in, like the Brett Millers, so we don't want this place, every room packed like all the time. Like that would create no flexibility for us, but it's getting that way. In the last couple, yeah, definitely Leslie, some people who volunteer here can attest to that. So that's exciting. It's also been challenging at times, but that's a good thing.
How's the new computer system working?
Scituate, that helps a lot. I mean, yeah, it's kind of how Linden, I think, so it just kind of lays things out almost like an Excel sheet, and we can see what's going on, at all times in the building.
And it's great because we don't necessarily have to get together to be able to make a decision, so that is a lot easier than having to, find each other.
And when people come in to ask, would I be able to do this or that, we can, look in right away, sit down with them, they can even see the lay of the land.
And it is nice to be able to say yes to some things on a day-time basis, which is hard. I wouldn't say yes to everybody, but if it's the town needing some space and needing something in this building, because really the town doesn't have a lot. One room at town hall can be used for meetings, and so they have had to use us a few times, so we do want to be able to offer that on some occasions.
Mm-hmm. And coming up, the special events, we have the St. Patrick's Day Luncheon. We have with Matt Brown, who's going to play for us. We have, it seems like a lot of workshops in the next, presentations and workshops. So that's why I put that area there. I'm sorry, I didn't add the Parkinson's, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's another one of those one-time great things that we're going to have. We just had the other one too that I didn't mention was Should I Stay or Should I Go? It was a panelist of real estate agents, estate planning, decluttering specialists, and lawyers. So it was kind of the whole panel to talk with people about what their next steps are with their properties. And
How many did we get for that?
we got 15 registered, and I think we got 17 or 18
Great.
in this room, which was full.
And I did hear
Yeah, the room was full. Yeah.
they appreciated this.
That special presentation is here in the newsletter.
Oh, I didn't put it in my report.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get my ink, but but it's in my mind and heart.
Yeah.
We're excited for the big bus trips to come back. We're working with a couple new companies because Fox is no longer doing the tour side. So that has been interesting because people sell you a good thing and then you start to see how they all work. And so we're in the midst of that. But with the four towns, we help each other out a lot.
I was gonna say, you can coordinate that with some other, like a Cohasset or a Norwalk, right?
Yeah, and usually somebody takes the lead on each one, so that's nice. But yeah, just kind of being the spokesperson to talk to the company too, and which one of us is doing that. It's helpful to share that responsibility. And so I'm just also trying to turn some attention to this accreditation process. I'm in the program group and going to handle anything that comes through with volunteer information, but I also know there's overlaps a little bit with marketing, a little bit with the evaluation team. Programming kind of is a big umbrella. So I can help where I can. I may not be able to do it all, but yeah, and definitely for rooms availability and all that.
Good, yeah, thanks for that. These last couple of days, everybody, I think, has managed to meet, so.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
One of the things we talked about, I think last week, the week before, was evaluation cards for programs and things like that. Is that done and complete and available for people, or?
We have the activity one available, and we have the fitness one available. We're just tallying them too. I made a course one that we can hand out at the end of specific courses, like a like a British series, that kind of
I
thing.
think that's what you were referring to, and so she did.
Yeah, I did that one. So I'm actually retroactively trying to get feedback from David's class because it went so well, and I think it was.
So is that gonna be like a card, like I'm just thinking for like the workshop series that I'm doing, so is that gonna be like something that you would have, that I would hand out at the end of the program too?
It's actually a sheet because it has the scales here, and on the back it has more open-ended stuff.
Oh, cool, okay.
Sure, we're not gonna get it from everybody, but it's live data.
Well,
So-
Classes, these special upcoming workshops, I mean, those are ideal for it, to know if we should keep them up.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, Bob Jackman's, we could get it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just ones that we haven't done for, we said our painting classes, our courses. Yeah. So, but it's there, so you can use it for anything, you don't just.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just was, are they available and good? Good. Great. Anybody have any questions for Jess?
When do you sleep?
Well, I go home, I'm gonna go home. My daughter's downstairs, but, I mean, for the most part, when I go home, my life is my life, so, so I do get good sleep. Unless I'm really worried about someone or something at the center, and then that happens too, but.
Well, thank you
This
for
is
all the
very
great
good.
work that you do.
All right.
Thank you.
And if there's, I just want to mention, if there's another way that you'd like to see some of the things reported on, like none of this has to be, we can work on that.
This is great,
Okay.
it's excellent.
I love the way you do the notes on the side, it's so much easier to
I
understand.
agree.
I'm not into numbers.
Right, I see, I know, I'm
I like
hear
the
you.
narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah, whereas I also like the numbers to see if there's a trend,
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
so.
What's interesting though is just that those numbers show you a lot of like how many people were bringing in,
Right.
the quantity, but it's also the numbers to discuss the quality, and so that's like a whole nother level. But these evaluations will bring that in. But,
I have one question about the volunteers, the money that's saving. Is it all the volunteers at a minimum wage? Is that how you come up?
It's funny that you asked that right now, right? Because
Yeah.
we gave you all a raise, I think.
yeah, everybody got a raise.
It probably was a little bit old. They might have been in at $12 an hour, just because, I mean, that's what the standard was a short time ago. So we were going to bring everybody up to at least 15. It's an arbitrary kind of
Right.
thing, but it does help paint the picture that we should be painting for the town.
Yeah, but that's the number, at least that's the minimum number to run it against,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, if we got, if we had to go out and get someone.
I mean, I did put it in the way it is now in terms of the total value in the annual report that the town puts out every year, so the booklet. So in my, I did the number that we have unduplicated and the value of the total. But it probably would have been more had we updated it before that, but it's still a good sized number, so too.
Yeah, and then that's just for February. So
Yeah.
you take that number, and it might not be the same every month, but that's,
Yeah, annualize it.
But then if we all do a better job of checking in when we come into the building, it's gonna be even bigger.
yeah, especially for the board. The board's the one group, because I was like, I went back and I went back for some volunteers just to get them in there, but I was like, okay, I'll just
Yeah.
work with the board. more
We've always either been a little remiss in bringing people on so that they even know that they should do that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we just go back and retroactively
Oh,
put it
yeah.
in for you. We did that when
You
I've had
can-
a volunteer to do that.
You can do that with the meetings. I was more concerned with the extra
No.
accreditation
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
That's
Jeff.
your name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go home. Go get your
Thank
daughter.
you.
to go.
So otherwise I have to go tell Gracie something else.
Say goodbye to Grace. Okay, all right.
Bye.
Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
Very good. I don't have any feedback from Karen Canfield on the select board unless you do, so we'll move right to Elaine and Foss.
We are approaching our first general meeting for 2023, which will be March 21st, which apparently is a very busy day here. But hopefully we'll get a full complement of people other than just the board members. We're going to be talking about the event committee, which has been very busy planning all of 2023 for activities. We do have 2 activities that I'm aware of that we're definitely planning, and that is another theater production. This one is going to be the, I think the first word is incredible, Mae West. So that should be a lot of fun to visit with. And then we're doing a quote-unquote family fun day in June. That will be an antique car show, really antique cars, really, you know, I don't know, 1920 or something. It's not the car shows that they have in the harbor, which are muscle cars. These are old cars.
It's going to be here. It's going to be here.
It's going to be right here in the. Yeah, I believe by the back fence.
Yep.
They will be lining up the cars, and then hopefully doing something like a, you know, hot dogs and stuff for the kids, and maybe some fun games or something like that. So, other activities, I'm not aware, I'm not on the events committee, so I don't get told until I go to a meeting.
I did get a sheet from them for some proposed
For dates.
events and dates that we'll look at.
Yeah. So that's coming. Also, we mentioned Betty Johnson's, her tree has been planted.
Oh, good. Over here, right?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. But we also wanted to do some sort of a patio sitting area around the tree, so we've had people come out to look at that and provide us with a...
We will give that to facilities as well, so that they know what's being proposed before we go forward with anything.
Where we have to go to the select board too, don't we?
Not necessarily.
Just facilities, okay. I know we had to go somewhere, so...
I mean, if he's happy with your having found those quotes and what is proposed, great, he might have his own ideas, and then we can take a look.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So that's,
Yeah.
That's great.
moving forward. We've had quite a delay with that, but that was, COVID interfered with it and everything, so we finally got our tree in the ground last fall. And hopefully it blooms this year.
Right.
It's a little early to test, so, but that's basically what we've been doing. So, hopefully we'll have more to report with more activities coming on board.
Okay. Very good. Joan, South Shore Other Services.
We had a meeting on Tuesday, March 7th, and they always have a big financial report, and they give out the papers, mainly on the definition of the Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion Task Force. And it's an overall goal. The document is in force. The staff, the volunteers, the board of directors, and advisory council meeting to create a focus and understanding and how important these factors are for the future of South Shore Elderly Services. And they had a detailed report about including all that. And then at the end of the meeting, they had each one from the senior center talk about if they had any problems, what was going on. And I was surprised, a lot of them are having problems getting men to attend.
We're all having those problems.
That's,
That's a nod.
I mean, it's a normal,
Well, I think we're doing pretty good.
We are.
And I told them we have the men's breakfast once a month, and that's well attended. And I told them about the veterans lunch that we had.
well, lunch in general is a big draw.
Yeah, so I said, yeah, we do get the men, you know.
Bob Jackson's.
Bob Jackson's classes, yeah, history they do, and I bought, they like it.
And then March community dinner is going to be shepherd pies, salad and rolls, and bread pudding.
This is Joan's other role though for St. Luke's.
Right.
That's
We get
not
about
social.
40 people.
Good.
Great, that's good to know. Great.
Yeah, nice to have.
Do most
community.
people go to that parish, go to church at St. Luke's? that
Most
we
of the people
attend?
that go, I would say 90, close to 90% of seniors.
Uh-huh.
And the date again, John, is 20,
It's March 26th,
It's a-
Sunday, it's always the fourth Sunday of the month,
Yep,
5
yep.
o'clock.
Yep,
But
okay.
they come early because I'd like to socialize.
Yes, they do. All right, very good. Accreditation updates, I don't know if we want to literally open the floor or
I mean, I
walk
put
around.
it there
for-
in
yeah.
case people have
Anybody have any
questions, we
questions
can settle here.
On their committee, on what's gotta happen?
I want to thank you all for, for really getting right on board with this and jumping in so handily, capably.
When's everything have to be,
May
all the
17th.
dots, Ts crossed and I's dotted?
Well, everything is the end of June,
Yeah, we wanna have the committees submit by mid-May, so that
May 17th,
we
we're
can
gonna
put
have like
the final
another,
document for June.
like a reporting out by the committee, chairs on May 17th. So we'll have like a meeting of all the committee chairs.
And the things that end up being redundant, there's a lot of overlap. How does that get cleaned up in the report?
Well, it is an online application, so to speak, so documentation is uploaded, questions are answered online, I guess basically by me. So I'll see this all and either assimilate it as needed or not have to include some things that might have an overlap. I'm not sure, I mean, I guess we'll see if we come across that. But if you've seen it, then sort of let me know, maybe flag it. So I can take a look at each of the areas that seem to be repetitive.
But there is duplicate.
I have a specific question, so for the community connections, I mean, one of the deliverables is what they're calling partnership agreements with all of our community partners. We have to show community partnership with at least 5 community, and we've already made a long list of the ones that we are engaged with.
Yeah.
There's way more than 5, but the question is,
We don't really have agreements
we don't
per
have a written
se.
agreement. So
I mean,
my,
even thinking about social elder services, for instance, which at one time we had an MOU created, but I'm going back some years, so
Right.
I don't know
So
that
that's
that would even
something
be
that we'll-
eligible. But it was an agreement, and then, but if we're partnering with the library or partnering,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
there is no formal
Yeah.
agreement.
So my second question is, because we have to produce it along with producing a marketing plan, which also doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So my question is, in terms of the surrounding communities that are currently accredited, could you just, off the top?
I do have access and have been invited if we want to see Duxbury's and what they've done. So I can
That's
certainly do
what,
that.
yeah, so, is there a way, like, we would have to go there to see it, or is there a way that they would share it?
I don't know, she said I could see it.
Okay.
We can talk about how to do that, whether it's just documentation that she can send me, or if we would visit
Yeah.
and see.
And I don't know if it's, I guess on the one hand, there may be other chairs besides me that need to see, okay, like, I'd love to see a copy of their marketing plan, and I'd also love to see a copy of their, partnership agreement.
Yeah. those are
But
fancy.
then we don't want like 9 different people calling her
No,
up.
no, that would be
Yeah.
for me, I mean,
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
the access.
So,
not-
Is there, so I would say
I'd
sooner
put that.
versus later,
Yeah.
if we can
Give me
get,
specific needs, that would make it easy for me to target what it was we were interested in
okay, so I will
seeing
say from my
come in.
committee,
Yeah.
we definitely would
Yeah.
like to see the marketing plan.
I might have the marketing plan.
And we would like to see
Yeah.
their partnership agreement template.
And it might not hurt to see their budgeting process too.
Okay, all right.
I mean, what are they including, how are they doing it differently?
Because for instance, their kitchen is very different, and I know that. All right.
If I have anything from Hingham, I'll send it over to you.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because the thing that I see here from Hingham, the only thing that's here is the strategic
plan.
plan. But there's all these other things which I would love to see, so, they listed like their goals and objectives, their outcomes for each one of the standards, and they also list their action plan for each one of the standards, then they have a marketing plan, and they have an evaluation plan. So if there was a way to get a copy of that
Okay.
whole thing,
I'm sure we could.
that would be great.
Yeah, I would think most places would be.
Willing to help.
You know, and as I mentioned, we have been getting a lot of
Right,
calls and
so
offering,
it's like,
extending
you know-
ourselves a lot lately for Hingham, so I'm sure
Yeah,
they
so
would.
I'm sure that they would do it, but so would you be the
It would be
conduit
through the
to,
director, I mean,
yeah, director to director?
yeah.
So even if you could just get both of those plans, that should be sufficient for all of us to be able to tap into.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, so we can get this done as soon as possible.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I had thought, you know, I know everybody was meeting, and I have touched base a little bit, and I did think maybe I would at least get to go to the initial meeting and see what you thought you might need from me, but maybe it's better that I didn't necessarily. I think, Laurie, you're going to get to me with that list we talked about, and that's good, because then I can
You can come
produce,
to my initial
however.
meeting tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Tomorrow morning at 9:30. Oh, I just told you she could come at 9:30. All right, and she's coming at 9. That's good. All right, 9:30 for you.
Were there things in this plan that would be relevant for some of the committees?
Maybe.
It's certainly a useful document.
2020,
It's
Where
a
did you
very
get that?
useful document. That is the action plan for the age-friendly.
No, I know what it is, but where did you get a copy of it?
Oh, one of the meetings.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've given that out. I have it. You can have a copy.
okay.
And also, the other thing that I don't know if it might be helpful is the needs assessment we did in 2014. I mean, maybe it's background, so if anybody wants a copy of that, we can do that.
Which was what?
The needs
The needs
assessment
assessment.
report that we did in
That's
2014.
going back almost, yeah.
I guess.
10
It was
years.
very important, and some
At the
people are
time,
doing it
right.
now because they're trying to get a new
Right.
senior center. Now granted, it took us from 2014 doing that to, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
still, but, anyway. So we have some historical documents that are good, but the age-friendly action plan is a current document that we have to start using actually to maintain our status. So it's really good.
And how long is the,
It's a 5-year action plan. Anyway, so.
Anybody else have anything on process?
Anybody have another meeting I should
I
know
mean,
about?
questions will
That you
pop
want
up.
me on?
or anything.
Well, Community Connections is meeting next Thursday afternoon, I don't know the time yet, but.
Okay.
Programs is gonna be tomorrow at 11.
So 9:30
I have to go over to pickleball at first, but then I'll come back. If, and maybe you don't even need me because you have chess and, you may not need me.
I just want to say that we were going to have Erin on our committee as the
Yes.
staff member.
You were,
So now we don't have a staff member.
right.
And when Jessica came in here just a while ago, she knew so much.
Yeah, but I'm gonna
Yes.
ask it, Erin has, I don't know if you missed that at the beginning, but I've already reached out to Erin, and Erin said she's gonna be more than
Right.
willing to help on the committee.
If she wants to initially be
Yeah.
here for a couple of meetings, I did think I'd probably step in, but
Yeah,
also,
I mean, you would be, that would
Yeah.
be great.
Jess and I tag team anyway on some of the things that
Yeah.
overlap,
Because
but
if you know certain things.
But I've been
right off the-
doing what
on the
I've
top
been
of your
doing.
head.
Right.
in terms of the marketing plan, I have been marketing, you
Yeah.
know,
And the
such
same
as
with
it is.
How does the senior
Yeah, no, I
center-
mean, we already started sketching it out, but I mean, it's like putting it all together, so as soon as, I need to reach out to Seth to see.
Yes.
So we are like leaving all of
Okay.
next Thursday afternoon available to him, so whenever he can come.
Oh,
So as soon
okay.
as I know the time, I'll
Yeah.
let you know.
All right. That's good.
can I just make a suggestion on the marketing? I was on the website trying to
Mm-hmm.
find
Yes.
bylaws and stuff. Your newsletter is like the most important thing
It
for
is.
people. If, I know it's not that easy to change things on a website, but that could be like one of the first things up instead
Well-
of way down the middle.
Good, that's a good suggestion, absolutely.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll
There's
have
no
our
doubt
own
that
standalone
website
I was
website.
gonna say,
Hey,
And
that's
there'll
what
be
you
a
really
tab
Could be,
for the
we
newsletter.
need. You need your own website.
We do have.
even have it.
We
even
have the beginnings of it, that's gonna be part of the marketing plan, is to complete that.
Oh, well, I did see that someone at the high school, it was an email that I have to go back and find, said
Is
something,
Maureen, is the marketing person?
just that there would be interns available for some of the technology things that we've talked about, and I meant to jump on that
Well,
today.
that's one of our questions here,
Mhm.
about the training of students and internship.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
Oh, I better-
Put that
Yeah,
down.
that's part of our community connection.
Mhm.
Get those kids in there.
Okay.
All
Anybody
these
else?
openings and turnovers, are you finding that's true at all the centers, sort of the quiet, quick?
The MCOA, sends out a report every week, and they do include openings at different centers, so if that's any indication, yes. A lot.
There is
a lot of
always,
openings.
I can remember when I used to get it, like transportation is like a huge one.
Mhm.
Everyone's looking for van drivers and transportation.
And that's actually why I noticed it wasn't on our town website, because I was going to send it to MCOA, why not, but it wasn't there. I do think it's a trend, I think it's a trend everywhere right now, yes.
Yeah.
And a
Not
lot
just
of,
the-
I mean, we
Just
are,
not in senior centers.
generally
everywhere.
speaking, an older staff that naturally is going to retire, but, so that is happening.
Yeah, or just change after a year or two, time to move on, right? Anybody else have any other comments, business, questions? And I don't hear anything.
I move that
Do I, yeah, is there a?
Just one other question.
Okay.
If, as far as including the volunteer hours, if you need outs, like at the library.
Yep.
Could
If
you
you are
just send your
volunteering
email?
for us, you are volunteering for us, that's fine, and you can put that in
To Jessica?
anytime.
What you-
On
On the machine.
on the machine.
anytime you want, if you're here, you can check into that machine and put in hours.
Even if you,
Did them elsewhere, yes.
like I was here Tuesday and
Yeah.
do it.
Technically, retroactively, I don't think you can change the date when you do it at the check-in machine, but I can change it. I mean, we can change it.
We
so
should theoretically all check in.
It doesn't
when we're
matter if the
leaving,
date's right.
when we're checking out.
Right.
I mean, tax work-off people that are accumulating their hours, it is nice for me to be able to print them out and see when dates might be important, but otherwise, it's okay. If it just gets in there and it's just the hours, it's okay.
Guilty as charged.
Is there a motion
Guilty as charged.
to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
The second one.
Seconded at 6:30, pretty much on the nose.
Very nice.
Next meeting, April 13th.